everybody, and welcome back to Is It Kino, your favorite movie review and cape shit review podcast. I'm your host, Simian Jimmy, joined as always by Florian Himsel.
Yep, it's not Kino without me. In fact, you definitely can't use that name without me. Hello, everyone, I'm back.
I don't think we've had a single episode without you. I mean, certainly not an episode that would be considered Kino.
Yeah, no, it's all just cheap knockoff Kinos.
And Florian, I believe you told me you went out on the town last night and met a lady boy, and you wanted to invite him onto the show, so go ahead and introduce him.
This is Kino McCatboy right here, everybody. Say hello.
Hello, I'm the Kino McCatboy.
Already you have to stop. I can't put up with this.
Florian Himsel wrecked my pussy last night.
Are you the one who changed his YouTube username?
I did, yes.
Oh, I thought the Catboy did it while you were asleep.
No, I mean, yeah, it could have been. Yeah, anyways, everyone check out my new YouTube channel is now Himsel Games, so it's the name I'm using to publish my games as well as my videos. Squid. Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, I can't find your channel because of Squid Game," and I know I did really good work on Squid Game, but it's time to just focus on the games from now on.
Yeah,
so
time to move on.
Yeah, Himsel Games, everyone, subscribe.
Well, we are here to discuss a movie that some are saying is Cape Kino, perhaps the best Batman film of all time. We all know Florian will disagree, so let's start there. Florian, what did you think of The Batman, rated PG-13?
So I hate the Batman and I hate the Riddler. I thought the movie might have been alright at certain points.
You hate the whole thing?
I guess to some extent. Look, there's a chance that my review might be impacted by the fact that I went to the cinema and then halfway through they didn't have audio anymore, and then they had to refund my ticket and I had to watch it at home. But I feel like this movie is just not a good representation of the Batman and the Riddler, because it's just like, it just doesn't feel right. There's no grace to it. It's just like Batman comes in using no stealth, then he gets hit by a million bullets that he's immune to, and then he just beats people up really sadistically. It takes him like 10 hits to bring anyone down. So basically he just comes to town wanting to beat up people, just really cause them pain and suffering, and then He talks to Catwoman. He says, "No, you cannot kill this man. What are you, crazy? Killing people? You can't cross that bridge. We like to brutally torture criminals here, but killing them? What the hell is the matter with you, Catwoman? Don't you have any sense of morals? Don't you know what it's like to grow up with $1 million? To not ever have to be hungry for anything? Why would anyone ever commit a crime such as killing someone?"
Is he wrong?
I don't get
though?
it. Yeah, he's wrong.
I agreed. Like, I think all of that sounds great. Actually, my favorite interaction with him and Catwoman is when he got really mad at her for the fact that she could have whored herself out. Like, that was the best part, where he's like, "What did you do to get that close?" Basically, like, just started screaming at her because he thought that she was a whore. I was just like, wow, he's literally me right now.
Well, I think we should make it clear real quick. This will be a spoiler-packed review, so if you have not already seen the movie, or if you really just don't care because it's fucking cape shit, feel free to listen on, but we will be talking about everything, it sounds like. And I'm not going to say I hated the movie like Florian did, and I'm not going to say it's the greatest film of all time like Kino seems to be thinking.
I didn't say it was the greatest film of all time. I think it's the best Batman film, though.
Yeah, but as a Marvel fanboy, I mean, you think that superhero movies are the only genre of film that exists, so by saying that, you are admitting it's the greatest film of all time. I think the movie needs to be fixed, and I know how to fix it, and a lot of the issues can be fixed with one fell swoop. Obviously, the movie does not need to be 3 hours. I think 2 hour 30 would have been perfect. So you're thinking, how do we cut out 30 minutes? What is the 30-minute chunk of this film that is shitty and needs to be removed? And this might sound like some hyperbole or some blasphemous beliefs for some of you, but the answer is obviously to remove all Selena Kyle Catwoman bullshit from the entire film. I think that was the weakest point. We don't need the lay epic plot twist that Catwoman's fucking dad is the secret mafia boss of the city. Fucking retarded bullshit writing. The screenwriter needs to be fired. The rest of the movie is Kino.
I'm pretty sure that's in the comics. I don't
care.
know.
I don't care.
Yeah, I guess it felt pretty weird in this. I mean, I think it's not even as bad as I make it sound, but it's like, I guess for a Batman movie, I thought I thought I'd be more disappointed than when I saw Batman v Superman, but I'm thinking this might actually be less of a representation of Batman than that
I think
movie.
It's definitely... Wait, I grew up reading the Batman comics. I actually have Year One and a few of those other next to me. I haven't read them in a long time, but I was a big Batman fan as a kid, as a teenager. And this is definitely way more like the Batman, how he's represented in a lot of these, especially like 90s comics. And I know that they used the Long Halloween, Year One, Batman Ego, like a few of those kind of Jeff Lubb and Frank Miller style Batman. It's definitely not like the Batman and Robin. And I see all these people on Twitter, especially, they're like, man, why isn't Batman going back to being puns and like quippy and stuff like that? I'm like, well, they did that in the 90s and it sucked. And if you want a superhero movie that has quips and is lighthearted, just watch a Marvel movie. I think that it's good that DC is trying to do something different than Marvel.
Yeah, could you imagine if in this movie with this tone, if fucking Robert Pattinson pushes a guy off of an 8-story building and then he said like, oh, he's gonna feel that one in the morning. Like, that shit would have been horrible.
Yeah, it's just comedy gold. Damn.
It wouldn't have worked. And
the only joke I need is the thumb drive joke. That was funny.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right. That was very punny. Oh,
like
God,
there,
no.
Well, there is some humor in it. It's just not that Marvel soy jack Reddit humor. I mean, it's humor that didn't just like take away from the tone of the film. Like when I think about Marvel humor that takes away from the tone, I always think about that terrible scene in Spider-Man No Way Home during the final fight. And then it cuts to the fat kid and Zendaya, and she's like, "Don't worry, you got this, you got this." He's like, "I don't know how to close the portal," and she's like, "Don't worry, and it's like done in this super weird sort of like lighthearted thing right after this dark fight between, and it's like, okay, it just took me out of the movie. But the humor in this film feels more congruous with the film, and I can definitely tell that this is by the same guy who made the Planet of the Apes movies.
The new ones.
The newer ones. Yeah, which I thought were pretty good. I liked I like those ones, and it has a more kind of if we're going to be talking about different Batman movies, right? You have the Tim Burton stuff that's definitely kind of more gothic inspired, or like like Tim Burton's always kind of more gothic inspired. And then you have the weird sort of like Batman Forever, which I don't even know how to describe that. The Joel Schumacher ones, which are just sort of goofy. They're kind of like proto Marvel films in a sense. And then Christopher Nolan's Michael Mann inspired Batman inspiration. I did not like Batman versus Superman at all. I thought that was a terrible film. Yeah, I thought that was. I thought that was awful.
It.
Well, Florian, let's see whose side are you on. Which one is better, Batman v Superman or The Batman?
Batman v Superman is better.
Thank you. I would say Joker is better than this. Like, people are saying this is the best one. I'd say it's pretty good.
The Joker is like one of the best ones out of them.
I'd say it is the best one.
I actually think that the Batman is better than Joker.
Yeah, well, let's talk about some of the deeper, more artistic elements of the film rather than a guy in a costume wants to punch people, because we kind of get that in all of them. But this one gave me a new impression of Batman that no other film has, and that's why I gotta really sing its praises a little bit. Because one of the memes of Batman is that, Batman's the real guy and Bruce Wayne is the costume. And I'm like, well, I don't get that. That's kind of stupid, right? This is the first time that I actually believed it, where he's dedicating 24 hours out of the day to doing this, to making Gotham better, and he only goes out as Bruce Wayne when it's absolutely necessary because he's just so dead focused on this Batman project.
And he's also kind of a husk of a person when he is Bruce Wayne. He's like this reclusive, socially stunted, shut-in kind of guy. I mean, Florian should really feel like he's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I feel like Florian is this Bruce Wayne, and you are the Riddler. These movie characters are literally you.
Yeah,
I really like when he was getting really close to Celine, and then he was just like checking her contacts instead of like going in for a romantic moment. That was really cool. But
that is Volcel energy right there. She thought it was a moment of curious passion, but no, he was focused on the job. He was checking her contacts. He was not gazing lovingly into her eyes. She was fooled. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, and then I also liked how at the end she's like, run away with me, and he's basically just like, no.
Yeah, fuck you. And I think it was confirmed that this Batman is a virgin, and he has no interest in losing his virginity.
Well, and I'd say that the Riddler is probably the same. There was actually a cut scene, so I saw a cut scene from the script, where Batman goes to Arkham, and he talks to Joker, and it's been implied that he had put him in Arkham like maybe a year or two earlier, like when he first started his thing as the Batman. That was like his initial rival, because I guess in a proto version of the script they were going to make it kind of like Silence of the Lambs, where he uses Joker or another villain to sort of get into the head of the Riddler to try to understand him. Like how Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs talks to Hannibal Lecter to try to understand Buffalo Bill. And
I wish they would have left that in, because the movie was so short. It really needed more bullshit to pack in there.
But so there was a scene where, but the thing is, this scene didn't really need to come in because it's made pretty obvious in the movie where the Joker tells Batman is trying to figure out how the Riddler thinks, and the Joker's like, well, you guys think the same. And that is like the whole thing of this movie that I liked is not only does the Riddler and the Batman are trying to essentially achieve the same goals, though through different means. They do think very similarly, and the Riddler in this movie at least exists because of the Batman. Like, he is a Batman wannabe in a sense. You know, he's kind of a copycat. Not a copycat in a sense, but he's given motive and he's given inspiration from the Batman, and he thinks that he's working alongside him to essentially take down this web of corruption in this movie that's frankly Italian-phobic, Frito-phobic, as you could say. All the bad guys are Italian. Just like real life. But I did like that. And then they do talk about how both the Riddler and Batman are themselves when they wear the masks. When you see Paul Dano or Edward Nashton, as he is in the film, and Edward Nashton and Bruce Wayne, it's like they're just the weakest little dudes, you know, just like the shut in, just sort of like they can't even like function as like normal people, but they put on the mask and it's like they become their true selves. And how the movie also interwove the idea of the Riddler existing on the internet, and kind of having like essentially is like being a 4chaner, having like what seemed to be some sort of Telegram type group or whatever, doing, streaming some of the executions, and having copycats kind of, coming out in Gotham.
Yeah,
Riddler
some
copycats.
might say nobody cared who he was until he put on the mask.
Yeah.
Well,
and taking off the mask would be very painful.
Speaking of the Riddler's motives and, his actions in the film, I'm curious, at what point do you think he actually became a villain? Because I think for the most part, he was doing things right. He was uncovering corruption. The mayor is a fucking, drug dealer and he's fucking hookers. Yeah, kill that guy. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. I don't need
don't-
that in my city. And all these other people, the DA is involved. Yeah, expose these fuckers. Kill them. I don't give a shit. But as soon as you're blowing up the levee to drown all the citizens, I think that's when he maybe crossed the line a little bit. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't think he was trying to drown the citizens.
Well, he certainly did by flooding the entire city.
No, he was. So his plan, at least, was to get everyone into that one safe
into
spot,
Madison
right?
Square Garden.
Yeah, into Madison Square Garden, where they would publicly execute a lot of the top, like, political officials and everything, and make a big show of it. Of course, the blowing up the levee. I liked the blowing up the levee part because it showed how, like, essentially Batman lost, and the whole third act is Batman trying to mitigate, is trying to lessen his losses, because he lost
right, but
to the
I'm
Riddler.
not talking about a Batman story level. I'm talking the morality of the Riddler. Is that when his moral compass went awry when he tried to flood the city?
Well, that's actually pretty important. I had no idea that he was meaning to herd the people into that area, but like he obviously, like he didn't give a shit if they were dying. Like when he was driving the car into the funeral, I mean, he surely was accepting that people would die then too. So I think he was like already, I think killing people was like his main goal, but I guess the more he ran out of bad people to kill, the more good people he ended up killing along the way.
No, I think it's more like this. It's kind of like, and it's this idea that's prevalent in Batman, you know, is that when you take somebody's life, it's kind of like you do cross that line where then taking lives is easier, you know, or you can make it so that you see lives as being more expendable. And Riddler is kind of a person who maybe his intentions were pure, but he did go about it in, like, he did cross that line, and it drove him down this path of darkness.
Well, let's go through his history, because I've seen this movie twice now, and I think I have a fuller understanding of really what's going on. The Riddler, he was an orphan, and Bruce Wayne's dad, he's running for mayor, and he says, you know what? Whether I win or lose, $1 billion going straight to the orphanage, baby. We're gonna give those orphans fucking Lamborghinis and shit. And then little tiny baby Riddler's like, oh, fuck yeah. Yes, a politician. He's totally telling the truth. I believe every word. And then, did I say Bruce Wayne? Whatever the fuck. Bruce Wayne's dad, he gets killed. And all
Thomas
the money,
Wayne, yeah.
the $1 billion orphan dollar dues, instead gets stolen by the government, the corrupt officials, the DA, all that shit. So that's what the Riddler's trying to expose specifically, and he's getting revenge specifically on those people who took the money. And I think he's completely justified. You fucking kidding me? $1 billion to restoring the poverty in the city? And you're gonna steal it? Kill him! What do you mean?
This is pretty.
I don't want to hear Kino Corner defend this fucking bullshit, saying, "Oh no, it's good Batman doesn't kill." Yeah, just throw the Joker in prison. He can't do any damage in there. And then the end of the movie, Joker's doing more damage in prison. Now, some of these fuckers need to be killed.
Well, I mean, I do agree with you. I'm just talking about
That's the issue with Batman. He thinks locking him up's gonna do anything. These fuckers escape every single episode.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that it's from a personal morality sort of stance, right? That once you kill somebody, it does make it easier for you, and it can really lead you down a dark path. Well, that's why Batman doesn't do it. I don't think it's because
Batman kills people in this movie. He shot a guy with a gun. He's dead.
Did he?
In the finale, when he's fighting all the Riddlers, he fucking shoots a dude.
Wow, I missed that one.
Yeah, he totally killed somebody.
But this is all pretty much nonsense, though. Like he thinks that killing people will like make your soul dark, and then you just end up killing people, and I guess eventually you're just like a zombie.
I think there's difference when logic. All the. I don't know. I do think there's a little bit of a difference when they all have guns and you're trying to protect yourself, and they're shooting you down, and But
Batman is the type of guy to go to the trolley problem and be like, well, I can't pull this thing to kill one guy, so I guess I'll let 8 people die. You fucking retard. Just kill the guy who's gonna not have the other 8 people die. It's not that hard. Simple math.
Well, no, but with the Riddler and with this charity thing, it reminded me a lot of like the Clinton Foundation and how they would use their quote unquote charity money.
Their Epstein
essentially
bucks.
Epstein bucks. You know, it's actually like that is a pretty pertinent sort of socio-political thing, because that is a big problem where a lot of quote unquote charity money or funds that are supposed to help lower income neighborhoods or whatever end up just getting used to stimulate corruption.
Yeah, Florian, I don't know if you know this about America. You remember back when that nice fellow George Floyd was killed and everybody was donating to Black Lives Matter? Do you know where that money went?
I guess I heard of that one vaguely, sure.
You know where all that money went?
I think it actually really helped the community. I don't think you're telling
Some might say. No, if you read the fine print, it says all this money gets donated to the Biden-Harris campaign.
Well, yeah, but if you think clearly,
and then the leaders,
it does more for black people than anything else, so it's perfect. Okay,
yeah. And then
Biden is the real Batman. That's the real takeaway. Okay, Biden is saving America.
I thought that was Kamala.
Oh, was it?
No, see, Biden is Batman, Kamala is Catwoman.
Yeah, perfect.
I wonder why I want to jerk off to the State of the Union so much.
Yeah, no, I liked the fact that it was kind of I'm a big fan of those 70s conspiracy movies, 60s and 70s, where it's like these people are uncovering these, like web of lies and corruption, like the Parallax View, Chinatown, or I also really liked the original Manchurian Candidate. And this movie did feel in line with those, with an aesthetic that was kind of neo-noir, like a lot of them as well. And I was reading about the cinematography process earlier today. And supposedly what they did is they shot it on like the RE large format cameras, which are digital cameras that are essentially like IMAX cameras or large format. And then they printed it on film, did a bleach bypass, and then put it back into digital to give it more of a filmic look. I thought, and I noticed I knew that, like, I could tell that it was digital, but there was also something different about the images, and I was like, like how did they do this? So I was reading about that today. Another really cool thing, just behind the scenes, that definitely I think is going to be. It's something that they were talking about how he found his shots, because the cinematography of this film is fantastic. It's by Greg Fraser, who also did the cinematography for Dune. And I'm a big fan of this particular cinematographer. But how Matt Reeves
real quick. I am a big normie. I don't recognize necessarily when one piece of cinematography is superior to another. And again, it's all art, so everybody's opinion is equal, evidently. But how would you compare this cinematography to any Zack Snyder film? Because I feel like Zack Snyder has great cinematography.
The thing about this is I prefer this cinematography because it's more tactile. Now, there are parts of Zack Snyder's cinematography that I do like, but I like the fact that Zack Snyder shoots on film, and he does have that grain. I did like the look of Justice League. His cut of it.
Yeah.
I didn't like the look of Batman versus Superman, though.
Shameful.
I'm pretty ambivalent on I didn't like the look of Sucker Punch. I don't know, like, I don't like the way that he chooses his colors necessarily in his films. Like, I like the colors of this movie better, and I like the general composition better in this. I don't know, like, they're very different. It's hard to say like which one is objectively better or which one is worse. I thought that, Zack Snyder's cinematography is there to make you feel like these are all mythical heroes.
Right. I didn't
And
want to
they're
sound like a Redditor, but I feel like Snyder's going for epic, whereas this is more, like you're saying, like film noir.
Yeah, exactly. So they're going for different things, and I think that they both achieve what they're going for.
Yeah.
In those terms. So, I mean, it really is just cinematography is supposed to fit the story. It's not supposed to be like, I really like the way this, Wes Anderson movie looks, right? So I'm going to shoot this gritty film noir like a Wes Anderson movie because I like the way Wes Anderson movies look. It's like, no, you're going to shoot it to fit that particular story.
I don't know. It sounds like Wasted Hours 2 might be pretty good if you do it like a Wes Anderson gritty noir movie.
No, I'm just saying that cinematography is there to fit the story, and
does it though? Like, did any of this really fit the Batman particularly well? I feel like going with epic heroes would have been, more reasonable.
Well, he's not an epic hero in this.
Well, he definitely is. That's true. But I mean, it feels like more GIMP than it needed to be.
GIMP?
And like also the costume designs and everything.
What do you mean GIMP?
I mean, like the way. I know this isn't cinematography, but like if you're looking at like the Riddler, he looks like such a GIMP. It like annoyed me. But like in general, I feel like this movie has like a look to it that isn't like. I don't know. It's like really gross, but not noir. It's just like in a different way. It's
definitely neo noir. I mean, neo noir is supposed to look dingy and sort of like crusty, and like highlighting the worst aspects of society. Like if you watch it. I mean, a famous neo noir is like Taxi Driver, and that makes everything look sickly.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's part of the appeal. And also, I like the costumes in this. I like the costumes in this.
It's not regular noir then? Okay.
Well, regular noir ended in the 50s. Okay. So, I mean, it's kind of like the difference between neo-noir and... Wait a sec, my dogs are barking.
That means he wants a foot rub.
I guess you could have like retro noir or something. I don't know.
Let's talk about anything else, because even I'm falling asleep here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Florian, since you are the biggest hater on the panel, give me 3 things about the movie that you thought were true Kino.
Oh, Jesus. Damn it. I never get to talk about the bad things.
Oh, you want to talk about the bad? Right. Go for it. I'll dive into the bad with you. I wanted to give you a chance to change your tune.
Okay. No, I definitely want to talk a whole lot about how most of this doesn't work for me. Like, this would have been so much better if the Riddler had an actual point, and if it wasn't just a vampire who just becomes evil the more he kills. I feel like that is such a stupid plot point to bring into what I guess is supposed to be some kind of neo-noir dark masterpiece.
Well, why do you think that the Riddler didn't have a point? Because I feel like I explained even on this podcast why I think he was justified.
Sure, but it doesn't matter if he has a point if he just wants to kill people.
He wants to kill some specific people who poison the city.
Ted Kaczynski,
Well, yeah, but he ended up killing way more people than he needed to. Yeah, and gratuitously. I don't know. I feel like it would have been.
That's his tragic flaw, though. That's kind of where he goes wrong. Is that he does have that collateral damage.
Yeah, no way.
I think that as a character,
he doesn't have the collateral damage. He just lusts for blood.
Well,
Come on, man.
I think that is.
I don't think he lusts for blood.
No, I think Florian's got a point, because that is sort of the lesson that Batman learns by the end of the movie, is that even Batman, the entire film, has been doing everything wrong, and ruling the city through fear is not what you should be doing. He should be a sign or a beacon of hope. And that's the lesson he learns. Watching the movie for the first time, I was thinking, ooh, Batman kind of feels like an unstoppable monster of vengeance. And it's kind of gross how, even after he knocks somebody down, he keeps pummeling their face and he just wants to fucking hurt them. Exactly. And I think that's really badass and cool, but also I don't know if Batman's morally in the right, in some of these scenes. And thankfully at the end of the movie, when one of the Riddlers says, "Oh, I am vengeance," and Batman's like, "Oh fuck, that's what I said." great. Now I look like these fuckers.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Like, Gordon goes along with this. Why? The Batman is like more psychotic than most of the people that you're gonna look up.
It's because all the cops and the cop force are like honestly like terrible people that are. Now one of the big things about this movie. One of the big things about this movie, it all centers around a drug trade that's it's obviously a sort of metaphor for the opioid crisis. That's because it's obviously some sort of opioid that's going on, and that's sort of everything that they're discovering, that supposedly the mafia was taken down and this opioid epidemic was ended, but then it didn't end.
Are you telling me if Selena Kyle offered you some drops, you would not take them?
Well, what I wanted
you'd be a drop head in a second.
No, what I wanted to point out is that an interesting little thing that they added into the Batman is that it's implied that Bruce Wayne himself is addicted because of the pain that he suffers. Because he has...
Is he actually addicted or not?
He has the drugs on his suit that he injects himself with. And that puts him into that that takes away his pain and puts him into that sort of rage. It kind of reminded me of like what PCP does to somebody. Because that's when he goes and he punches a guy's face until the guy is like pulp.
Yeah, well, that settles that, and at that point he's basically a Nazi. Then if he gets high to beat up thugs, come on, man.
But then he learns his lesson immediately. So if the Nazis would have just said
immediately
sorry,
after 3 hours.
If in 1945 all the Nazis said sorry, I think we would have moved on.
Well, maybe not 45, maybe like 39. They did like one bad thing to one Jew, and then they're like, "Oh shit, maybe we're the bad guys." Sorry, guys.
What are these skulls?
Yeah, are we the baddies? Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, and
I mean, I like that element. Well, I hate it. I hate the fact.
Well, Florian, let's talk this out. Why do you hate it? Because the things you dislike, the movie acknowledges as being bad, and Batman learns a lesson and changes his mind. So why do you dislike that?
Well, because I feel that it's fake. Because I feel that the movie just wanted...
fake!
It's a movie!
No, come on. Don't give me that.
What do you mean?
Well, I was gonna talk.
Okay.
Basically, the people just thought we want to have the most disgusting, brutal Batman that we could possibly have. He's gonna, and the Riddler too. He's gonna be so gross, and he's gonna beat everyone up so much, so sadistically. And then in the end, he learns his lesson. No, that was the whole point. Was that you wanted it to be this way. The lesson wasn't learned. If the lesson was going to get learned, then he wouldn't have framed the entire movie to be this gross. If the lesson was going to get learned, then it wouldn't have been the point of the movie to make it like this.
Well, to be fair, Batman does not brutally attack like a store robber or somebody trying to get a loaf of bread for their family. We specifically, and I kept my eye out on this the second time, we only ever see Batman brutally beat somebody who was about to commit murder. So I think those people probably deserve it.
They probably deserved worse, honestly.
Like they can handle getting a little electro shock through their fucking neck.
Yeah, because like at the beginning, they were literally going to murder that innocent man, or they were playing the knockout game. I mean, that's kind of how it starts, initiation right?
was
that gang is playing the knockout game.
You don't get the full face paint until you kill an innocent man.
Yeah, exactly. So they were going to have, they're going to initiate that guy by killing that innocent man. And yeah, I would say that all of those people deserved everything that they got.
Yeah.
But the thing is that,
Batman has to learn that he shouldn't relish in the vengeance.
Yeah. And it's in a way it's a coming of age movie for Bruce Wayne because he is a much younger Bruce Wayne. I'm glad that it didn't start off with the whole we see him as a kid and then we see his parents get shot over again. I mean, they worked that into the plot, but I thought they were. I like how they worked
story
it
every time. So it's good they didn't.
Yeah, I like how they worked it into the plot in a way that made sense with what the main plot was, rather than having this prologue section where we just see them get killed. Because it's like, look, we know that Bruce Wayne's parents died. Like, anyone who's going to see the Batman knows the backstory of the Batman, right? That's like the one thing that's the same with all these Batman movies. His parents are dead, right? It's just like Uncle Ben dies for Spider-Man. His Bruce Wayne's parents die in Batman. That's always the same thing. And then the rest of it is really up to the director. You know, I do like that about the Batman movies, is that with each director, it's like we get a whole different take on them. Even if I prefer one take over the other, I think that Batman allows, or at least the character in Gotham allows, a lot of different variety of interpretations. But I did like in this movie that it works as a coming of age movie for Bruce Wayne, where it's about him getting over all of the angst from his childhood and young adulthood, that was born out of this, hatred, or this, for the criminal element, for Gotham, and, all this kind of stuff.
Well, do you think that this movie might leave an impact on your life, Kino? Like, do you think maybe now you'll be inspired to grow out of your edgy phase and maybe, give back to society in ways that are positive?
Look, I am less edgy than Florian.
What?
Well, hey, I don't want to cut us too short, but I'm still recovering from food poisoning, and Discord is cutting off Kino a lot, so maybe we should give our final thoughts before we wrap up.
Just one more thing.
Yeah, go for it.
So basically, like, what I was getting to is that basically I hate the whole conclusion of the story. Even though it makes sense, he was being too gross and now he's being less gross. But wouldn't it have been so much more interesting if the Riddler hadn't turned out to be a monster, but instead the Riddler had just, like, been too ruthless in his pursuits, and he would have just, like, been a good... If he had just been a good influence by his outcomes, and then the Batman has to make a choice whether or not he allows the Riddler to continue, or if he stops him. And of course he would stop him, but in this case we didn't have that. All we had is
definitely the guy who had a rat chew off the face of a dude is going to be the good influence on Batman.
Well that's the whole point. Well, I mean, he was the good influence on Batman, but I mean, that's the whole point of the movie, wasn't it? That he's showing him a dark mirror. But, like, would it have been better if he had been, like, different than Batman in a way, but then the Batman had to make a choice whether or not he would stop the Riddler or not? But instead we just have this where he learns, like, oh yeah, I was right all along, I just have to be a little less
because
gross.
It's not about the Riddler. The Riddler is the antagonist, but he's not the villain. The villain, like, that is what I liked about. So for my final thoughts, what I really liked about this movie is that it's not framed as, like, Batman versus Batman versus Bane, or Batman versus the Riddler, or whatever. It's not really like he's up against this one villain mastermind that's kind of controlling all the strings. It's more like this entire city is just there's so much corruption and there's so much evil around him, and the Riddler is kind of a intellectual foe. He's not exactly batting up against him. There's much bigger fish to fry, with the entire mafia structure and drug epidemic, problem with violence. It works more like a noir in that sense. And I like that enemies, like the Riddler, and even like Catwoman in a sense, even though she's kind of a frenemy. What they did was they allowed Pattinson's Bruce Wayne to reflect on himself. And so with a lot of other Batman movies, with a lot of superhero movies in general, the superheroes are pretty boring people. They basically are just like power fantasies, that we just sort of project ourselves onto. And then, like, the people that everyone remembers are the villains, And I think that with this movie, it was doing the opposite, where it was making Batman the most interesting character, Bruce Wayne the most interesting character in the film, and the villains were there to sort of add a lot of depth, as he was exploring himself and kind of having this coming of age neo-noir like detective action story. So that's what I really liked about it. It felt like an inversion of what a lot of other Batman movies have been doing. And what I loved about it is that it wasn't nostalgia baiting anything. It didn't feel like there weren't any Marvel quips, you know. It wasn't like bringing back things and being like, hey, remember this?
Well, they did introduce the Joker, and that was the worst scene in the whole film, so I probably would have cut that out.
Sucked.
Yeah, I think that for the ending, they should have... I honestly think that they should have ended it after his last little speech, where he's kind of
when he's like helping everybody into the helicopter.
Yeah, and then it kind of zooms in on his face there. Yeah. I thought that was going to be the last shot. I think that I think the movie would feel a lot tighter if they cut out the next two scenes. Like, I liked him telling Catwoman that he wasn't going to go with her, because it kind of did show that the fact that he wasn't really that romantically interested in her. And I don't know. And it kind of showed that he also doesn't approve of her tactics or whatever. And he's looking to be a different person. So I do understand that. But yeah, I would have cut out the Arkham thing with the Joker. I think that honestly, like, I'm not a big fan of saying like, there should be a post-credit scene. But I think that would have worked better as a post-credit scene, because then it wouldn't be in the main movie. It would essentially just be like a little extra thing. I think that's honestly what they should have done. I think that...
Well, I felt like it basically was a post-credit scene, and yeah, it was definitely useless, like, either way, I guess.
No, guys, I think it's perfectly reasonable that the most dangerous villains that you lock up in prison get access both to a window that shows them the entire ocean line so they can see their master plan explode, and then they also, on the other side of their cell, can see a television showing them all the hottest news updates. I think that's perfectly reasonable, and there's no reason why you should remove that from the film. Dangerous, violent criminals deserve to sit there and watch TV all day.
I just would have removed the Joker, otherwise it would have been fine.
Yeah. And I don't think they would be giving Joker and Riddler the fucking television.
You know what they should do for the second one? They should have Inside Arkham Asylum, but make it like Inside 12 Monkeys. Did you guys ever see 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt? I mean, I'm guessing that's a no.
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay. Well, anyone who's watched this, who's seen 12 Monkeys, you would have known. It's a good movie.
Okay,
you guys should watch
Discord is cutting off Kino too much. I'm getting sick of it, so I'm ending it real quick. I'm going to tell you how to fix this movie. First of all, does not need to be PG-13. Joker is rated R. Joker is literally going to make double the box office this movie is going to make. So they made the risk with PG-13 trying to get extra money. It fucking failed. The movie is not doing that hot. Make it R-rated. I want it to be fucking darker. If you want to make 7 with Batman, then don't fucking pull your punch like a little PG-13 pussy bitch and just fucking do it. Give me my R-rated Batman movie. Cut out all of the Catwoman shit. Put it in the next one. It did not belong here. It made the movie overstuffed beyond belief. The second time, the movie feels even longer somehow. Penguin, they did not let the Penguin smoke a cigar. The actor and the director begged the studio. They said, no, we cannot have a guy smoking a cigar in this movie about people getting their fingers ripped off and rats eating people's faces. Literally, fuck you, Warner Brothers, you literal pussies. Every studio interference in this movie pussified the film, and it just makes me sick. So it's an 8 out of 10. Studio interference ruined it. Fuck all of you.
Yeah, I would give it like an 8.5, and I agree with it should have been an R rating. I hope that what I'm hoping for is that they shot R-rated scenes, and it makes it into like a Blu-ray director's cut.
Oh, we're gonna get a CGI cigar in Penguin's mouth?
No, what I'm saying is like, because there's some, like with the rat eating the guy's face, it cuts away, but it seemed like they had made the props or done the done the prosthetics and the makeup and stuff to make it look gory, but it felt like they kind of cut away quickly, so that you wouldn't see the stuff. So I'm hoping that maybe that there's like a unrated or like a director's cut that just adds some of those shots in. I think that would give some of those scenes a bit more impact.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would generally say an 8 is fair. Yeah.
What about you, Florian? Would you say this is Kino?
No, I guess it just depends on you. I think this movie is like a 5 out of 10. And I guess I should say I guess one thing I liked about it is how Batman looked with his eye makeup. It looked really edgy, and I guess that was my favorite scene of the movie is how he looked.
Oh, I just remembered the other worst part of the movie that I would say is as bad as the Martha shit in Batman v Superman. Would either of you care to guess?
Oh, so many choices.
Are there really that many choices? Okay, I'll just say it. I don't want you guys to... Here's the thing. The movie spends at least 25 minutes really, really wanting you to think that the Riddler knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And like they're screaming it at you. Even Batman's like, oh, he's coming after me. He knows it's me. On his crazy man board of all these newspaper clippings and pictures, he has who is the Batman right next to a photo of me, Bruce Wayne. Oh fuck, he knows. And then Batman, Batman goes to meet the Riddler in prison. And what does the Riddler say? Bruce Wayne! Bruce Wayne! And then the music cuts out, like there's tense music playing and it just fades out and he says, it's too bad we didn't kill Bruce Wayne, huh? And I'm like, wow, this is the shittiest fucking screenplay I might have ever seen in a movie. Are you fucking kidding me? Can you justify that? That is the most embarrassing fucking writing in the film.
I don't think that that's the most...
That is humiliating for the screenwriter. That is the most embarrassing fucking shit I've ever seen.
Nearly as bad as any... I don't think it's nearly as bad as anything in Batman versus Superman, which had one of the worst screenplays of any cape shit thing I've ever seen. That
was embarrassing. Just admit it was embarrassing.
I don't think that's embarrassing.
I kind of liked it. Well, maybe it was a very stupid scene, but I like the fact that he didn't know it in the end.
Unbelievably stupid.
No, I don't think it's that stupid.
And how the Riddler knows the inside scoop? He has the tea on everybody in the entire city. He knows every crime every politician's ever committed, but he just can't figure out Bruce Wayne is Batman.
No, that actually makes a little bit of sense because like Bruce Wayne basically does nothing, right? He's just an incel, so you would never guess that he's Batman, right?
Yeah, it'd be real hard to compare the fucking jawline of every rich man in the city. Oh man.
Well, and he hasn't been Batman for that long either. Like it's on his like 1 or 2 year anniversary. It's not like he's been doing it for that long. And I think it plays into this theme that of who you are with the mask off, who you are with the mask on. And it also, I think that it played well thematically with the film and to show how misguided the Riddler was. That
as soon as Batman walks into frame for the Riddler to start like screaming Bruce Wayne, it's just unbelievably cringe and poor writing, and you cannot justify that.
But you know what? I disagree with like everyone has to know it's Bruce Wayne because like why does everyone assume that Bruce Wayne is personally the Batman? Like why can't you just assume that like one of the rich men has a friend and he's Batman? Like it's not as simple as just comparing.
Well, this guy has a very specific obsession with Bruce Wayne and has pictures of him all over his apartment. Yeah. So I feel like he might have noticed like the mouth and jaw at least once.
Well, to be fair, I think he actually looked pretty different. Like more than most Batman, he looks very different as Bruce Wayne because he's like bit more hunched over.
He looks like an incel. Like he looks like an incel. I don't think anybody would even think that he's going to be the Batman because he looks like a wimpy incel-y dude, you know. So it could just. I mean, honestly, it made sense. But the thing is that the Riddler is so obsessed with Thomas Wayne and with Bruce Wayne. I mean, it makes sense. It's like a lifelong obsession with him. And he thinks and he sees Thomas Wayne and he sees that the Wayne family as the source of all of his problems. You know, there's some people that they attribute all their problems to a specific family or a specific group of people. And they become very obsessed with them. But
Florian, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think that's actually incredibly unfair. Bad Riddler. Bruce Wayne has done literally nothing wrong. He's just like an orphan. And he didn't do any of the evil the other people did.
No,
it's
I think actually the Riddler was right to focus on Bruce. No, because Bruce is a billionaire, and his solution to help people out of poverty is to punch them. Like, I think he could have been doing other things with his resources other than become Batman.
Called, like, somebody has to be the carrot. And somebody has to be the stick. So Batman is the stick, and I don't know.
Isn't that
renewal
kind of
is the carrot?
Isn't that the lesson Batman learns? Is that he should be helping people in positive ways rather than through fear tactics and shit?
Yeah, because it opens up with him essentially acting like a monster for people on the street.
Like, yeah, so really, like the Riddler, as bad as he was, he did teach Batman a valuable lesson. So I think we can call it all a wash.
Yeah, but he didn't know he didn't know Bruce was the Batman, so he had literally no reason to think that Bruce was evil.
Because Bruce was not using his resources to help the orphans.
Yeah, but what fucking age is Bruce? Like 30? Come on, maybe he would have done it at 40. Oh my god,
if I was 30 and I had $1 billion, there'd be no more orphans. I'd eat them all.
Yeah, I know.
I'd start Epstein Island for eating orphans.
I mean, the thing is, he just, he thought that the whole Wayne family was in on it. And it was also born out of a jealousy. And that's kind of where I think a lot of, we were talking earlier about, like, when did the Riddler become a bad guy? I think that, honestly, his intentions for fighting corruption in the city were good, but he was blinded by this kind of personal vendetta against the Wayne family because he saw Thomas Wayne, and then he attributed it to Bruce Wayne as basically completely destroying his life.
Yeah.
And, so that was also the problem with him, is that he was out not to make the city better, but he was out to get vengeance. And vengeance on somebody he didn't even quite understand. And that's what Batman, that's part of the lesson that Batman learned. But I agree that we should start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably another reason why he didn't figure out that Bruce was the Batman, because he just saw the Batman as one of the good people and Bruce as one of the bad people, so it never even crossed his mind, just because he was so ideologically opposed to billionaires. What a fool.
That was one of the details I did like in retrospect, was that the Riddler would communicate with Batman with these, like, creepy gift cards, like a greeting card, and at first you interpret it as being creepy, like, oh man, he's really villainizing, antagonizing Batman. But then when you realize Riddler really thought they were friends, like, all those cards were meant to be genuine. Like, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, here's a sum. Don't you love having a human sum? That's what I get all my friends.
Well, it was the thumb of the mayor who was corrupt, so,
Yeah, I think that what we can all learn, and this will be my last statement, is that if you want somebody to be your friend, or if you think someone's your friend, you should send them some more cards. People should send each other cards more often.
And if you think you're my friend, you should send me money on patreon.com/mumkey, and if you give any amount at all, you will be my best friend.
What a great opportunity, everyone. And you should all go buy my game on Steam. It's called Ball Frog. Check it out on Steam, everyone. Play it with your friends.
And I'll be releasing my video on a Serbian film this week that I shot partially at Mumkey's house with Eggy. So look out for that.
Bye, everybody.